I don't do this for, is that pretty good? Or I can get to a full screen version of that, I think.
That's that's pretty good. So long as it is comfortable for you to read off, I think that's okay. We could see it.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know where the full screen button is for PDF. Does anyone have can anyone clue me in?
I think I think
Okay,
this is good to go. Yeah, thank you
all
so
right.
much.
Sorry, wasn't that ready. So I'm John Mackler. My employer is the Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon. EMO is a 50-year-old organization with a handful of social services programs, a lot of focus on immigration and refugees, homeless youth, HIV and AIDS, and also food assistance. And we are the food assistance program. NEFP has been around for a little over 40 years, and we've been in our current location in the Cully neighborhood for almost 20 years. Uh, okay. Um, so for food pantries, a lot of questions. A lot of people want to know, how does the food come in? So most of our food comes from the Oregon Food Bank. We get this number changed recently. We're probably down to about 40,000 pounds of food per week from the Oregon Food Bank. So trucks deliver. We don't have a dock. We're in a church basement, so they come, the pallets get delivered, and then we have volunteers who break it all down, put it on wagons, and haul it in. We also get donations from Trader Joe's. I don't know. I'm going to assume the audience is not familiar with this topic. There's something called Fresh Alliance that the Oregon Food Bank administers that partners food pantries with grocery stores. So your Fred Meyer, Safeway, Albertsons, New Seasons, Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's is our main partner. We also get food from Bimbo Bakery, which is a distributor of almost every bread that you get at the grocery store. Grand Central Bakery, one of the local shops, donates to us. And then our local New Seasons we pick up from 2 days a week and just get a little bit of food. But also, especially in the summer, community gardens, churches, individuals, food drives. I'd love to make a plug for something called the Portland Food Project, or some people call it the Green Bag Project. I can come back to this, but it's a really great citywide program that sort of crowdsources food donations and then distributes to, I think, about 25 different pantries. It's a really easy way to get involved in contributing food. So there's a whole, we could talk for an hour about this, the supply chain for food pantries. And of course, the food goes out. NEFP, we are open 3 days a week, Tuesday afternoons, and then in the morning on Thursdays and Saturdays. Each time we're open for 2.5 hours. We serve about 130, 140 clients per hour. And so overall, in a week, we serve 1,000 unique families. So I'm going to turn my head to look at the chat. Okay, that's right. Um, so everyone is allowed to shop here once per week. And I can go into how we facilitate that with client IDs. We maintain a very low bar for access. We don't have anything like an application. On average, each of those 1,000 clients collects about 40 pounds of food. Um, a common number that's used in the United States is that retail groceries cost about $5 a pound. Of course, some items are very cheap and some items are very expensive, but that's a good ballpark number. So the market value of 40 pounds of food is about $200. I like to say that if you shop at the pantry about once a week, you might be collecting $800 to $1,000 worth of groceries in a month. And that's real money in terms of rent, utilities, gas in your car, medicines, clothing, whatever. Okay. Talk about our clients for a second. Our clientele at NEFP is extremely diverse. One talking point is that only about 15% of our clients speak English. Chinese and Spanish are the most common languages. Um, NEFP in the Cully neighborhood, this is a very Spanish-speaking community. And because of the way we've centered Latino norms, we've begun to draw Latino clients from a much larger area. So you can see that in the map with sort of the orange dots. Also, we have a large number of Chinese clients. They are geographically concentrated in the 97266 zip code, and especially in an area around Powell and 82nd in Lentz. And I'm a nerd, so I just really like digging into this data and seeing where people come from. We attracted one or two Persian volunteers recently, and that led to a significant increase in Persian clients. And then I think one family tells another family, and it catches on that way. Volunteers. We run highly on volunteers. We're a big pantry. We have 4 paid staff. But last year, we had over 1,600 unique volunteers serving over 27,000 hours of service. About half of those hours were served by 70 sort of super volunteers, just superstars. And one of the things we do, you can see folks here in an orange vest. That's the promotion. You know, when you put in a lot of time, you get your orange vest. It's kind of a little badge of honor. Um, we also love partnering with schools and courts and other organizations that mandate service. When folks come and spend a lot of time over a month or two, it's just a nice way we build relationship and folks get sort of develop mastery and autonomy. And so regardless of their circumstances, to sort of become an important part of our thing is it's a pride point. We have shopping style pantry. This began in November of 2022. At the end of the pandemic, we had been doing a drive-through out in our parking lot to obey all the safety protocols. And when we moved back inside, we switched immediately to a pantry style shopping. Clients choose what items they want. As much as possible, clients choose how much of everything they want. So if we can, we just say, take as much as you need. We generally serve about 300 to 350 people in a shift. So if we have enough diced tomatoes, it seems to work pretty well. As we get to know our clients, we can look at what our inventory is and determine if we can let it go unlimited based on when the next truck is coming. Sometimes we can see that there's not enough to go unlimited, but we want to make sure that someone's shopping, say, for 10 people can serve their family, and someone shopping for 1 or 2 people might not need as much. So we can put in some guidelines. So the amount you can take is proportionate to the family size. And then sometimes it's just one for everybody or 2 for everybody. Overall, it's hard to describe, but if you've ever shopped at IKEA, same thing. It's a buffet. You follow the yellow brick road. There are 5 basic stations. You start with dry goods, you move on to produce, then the freezer, and then our cooler, and then bread. The only disadvantage of our process is you can't cut back. So if you discover that there's an ingredient towards the end and it would go really well with an ingredient that you skipped at the beginning, there isn't a way to go back. And that is definitely a drawback to our system. I'm getting near the end here. I don't know if you want me to slow down because a couple speakers canceled, or I'm going to try to stay on pace and maybe we have time for Q&A.
Yeah, you can, I think you can slow down if you want to.
Okay, sorry if
Yeah.
I've been talking too fast.
No, you definitely haven't. Just want to give you permission to
Okay,
not worry about time.
I'll take a breath. So the main thing we do is this buffet style pantry operation where we, like I said, we serve about 1,000 families a week. In addition to that, we have a couple of other ways of distributing food. There's sort of the mutual aid model. There's a couple of schools, especially right in our neighborhood, that run pantries. There are churches or day centers. One of my employer's other programs is a day center for people with HIV and AIDS. So we can go and deliver some food and let people come in for the day and collect that. I want to say, if you're not familiar, the Oregon Food Bank has some pretty strict rules about how food is stored. So we have to be careful not to just drop food off at a place and let it sit there. We have developed a partnership with Do Good Multnoma's Roseway Shelter that's here in the Cully Park Rose neighborhood. They have about 150 residents, mostly disabled vets. And so we stock a pantry on that facility. Um, that helps, that enables those clients to get food without having to schlep over to the pantry. We're only about a mile apart, but we feel like that trip could be a burden for those folks, and their caseworkers are able to administer a very safe and efficient pantry on site. We also work with certain caseworkers. So another Ecumenical Ministries program is a domestic violence program. A caseworker might bring a client in. when it's quiet, when there aren't 300 people around, and have the opportunity to shop through with a little bit of privacy and a bit more safety. So that's a bit more culturally competent isn't the right word, but context appropriate. Um, and pretty much in the case of the mutual aid and the authorized representatives, it's a thing of how strong our inventory is. There have been times where we really have abundance in our food supply, and we can support a lot of mutual aid groups and a lot of authorized representatives. Lately, because of changes in the federal government and the USDA policies, our inventory has been much less than it was in the past. And so we've had to restrict how much support we can provide through the mutual aid and the authorized representative model. Just a second, please. I'm going to close my door for noise. Sorry, pardon the interruption. Okay. When I give a tour for new volunteers, I always say follow the tour by these 5 words. Number one is abundance. There is plenty of food in the world. There's just a logistics problem that interferes with getting it to people and the prices and inequality in our society, but there is plenty of food. People should not be hungry. We don't have a dust bowl. Choice. We want our clients to make choice, to have the opportunity to make choices. When I go to the grocery store, I get to choose what I want and how much I want to pay for. And that leads to the most important word in the list, which is dignity. The number one question we ask ourselves as we administer the program, as we seek to serve people, is to center the client dignity. When we serve such a multicultural, multi-ethnic, multilingual clientele, there are times where what we would do to center one culture might be in conflict with another culture. And so it's constantly just trying to figure out overall what we can do to bring balance and serve everybody as well as possible and in the way that they want to be served. There's a picture here of what it looks like when clients are arriving. I can go into detail on this, but each of our clients has, I call it a library card. So you can see my employee May with the long dark hair. A client arrives, presents their card. By the way, these are not real clients. These are volunteers who staged the thing. So we're not disrespecting client confidentiality here, to be clear. Um, and so across the language barrier, it's a very efficient way for us to check in our clients. And then the other person there with his back to you would be helping a client who's coming for the first time to sign in. All we ask is first name, birth date, and zip code to get people into our system. And then I finish with quantity and quality. Of course, the basic thing in food pantry is to get as much food to as many people as possible. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to deliver nutrition. We try not to lose sight of quality. A lot of people have questions like, this pear has a bruise, should we serve it? That is like the existential dilemma facing a food pantry is, um, does it center dignity to withhold damaged produce, or does it center dignity to offer everything you can? Is the potential offense of someone receiving blemished food at the food pantry, is that insulting or disrespecting to come home and find that your potato has a soft spot? Or are you delivering a potato that is 80% good potato and you can cut out the bad part? And there isn't a right answer, and people in food pantrying just sort of debate this point back and forth. But if you keep your attention, I believe if you keep your attention on the dignity of the client, it leads you to what I believe is the correct answer. And with that, I want to say thank you. My team, Ryan and RSL and May. This is my email address. That's the QR code for our Instagram. I'm very bad at Instagram. I can't decide who my audience is, so I just bumble around, trying to make it as useful and informative as possible. Ta-da!
Yay! Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you jumping in early, and I just can't believe all that y'all do with just 4 staff. That's just
Don't forget
truly
about
incredible.
it's the volunteers. That's a great point. Would you like me to tackle the Q&A in the chat?
Um, yes, and if you could do it, just like by typing responses in the chat, then that would be excellent.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Okay. Should I
yeah,
stop? I'll stop sharing my screen then.
sure. That's great. Thank you so much, John. I
Thank you
really
all very much for
appreciate
the
you.
platform.
Great. And everybody did a great job tagging John, said he knew those questions were for him, and those are awesome questions. So thank you all so much. Next we'll hear from Leticia from Mom's Meals.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay. I am on the road, so I apologize. if my Wi-Fi is a little slow. But thank you all so much for allowing me the space to just kind of share in here. I'll go ahead and share my screen as well. Let's see if it's me. Okay, can you see this presentation? Okay. This
Yeah.
is okay. Okay, awesome. So I'll just kind of flow through this, and then of course, feel free to ask any sort of questions or anything like that. My information is also in the chat, and I'm happy to answer any questions as we go along. So Mom's Meals, I always like to preface a few things. One, it's not just for moms, it's for any eligible person who can participate in these 4 food programs that I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Um, and they're all through well, 3 of the programs out of the 4 are through the Health Related Social Needs Program. So I know a lot of you are probably familiar with that term. HRSN is a huge buzzword, but I also like folks to rest assured that for nutrition programs, it should only take folks 2 to 3 weeks to get meals and their food program at their doorstep. So that's something that I really like people to rest assured in, as each program is its own separate thing. So I kind of have that as the baseline. We can just kind of flow through a little bit about Mom's Meals. So our whole mission is to help folks improve life through better nutrition at home. So we recognize that there are a lot of really great food programs in our communities, like John just mentioned. That's a beautiful program that I just learned about today. So that's fantastic. But we also know that there can be barriers in folks getting childcare to go to food banks and food pantries, or transportation or work hours, whatever it may be. So these are the programs that we'd like to help supplement and support those programs as well, to deliver these food programs to folks at home, or maybe their transition center, maybe their community action agency, wherever their delivered site preference is. So that way folks can just experience better health outcomes for themselves on an individual level, and then get to show up better in their communities and for their communities, for their families, and for themselves. And so that's what our whole mission is, to help promote community health in that way. We have multiple programs through Mom's Meals. So it's not just meals, although we do focus on medically tailored meals. We also offer produce and pantry boxes, nutrition counseling, oral supplements, and shelf-stable meals. We're able to deliver to any zip code, to any address in Oregon and Washington. So outside of just maybe the Portland metro area, even in more rural areas. I'm in Hermiston today, which is a super rural area. So we're able to deliver through UPS and FedEx, just so folks are curious. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the delivery process as well. And then we have a really great customer care service team. So live English and Spanish options. And on our website, you can actually directly translate it to 160 different languages, to help support our community members in just learning about the programs, getting connected, and then as they participate through the program, to have the support that they need. And then this is basically what each of the programs are. So again, through the Oregon's Health Related Social Needs Program, that HRSN portion, they're offering housing supports and climate support, and also nutrition support. So that's where Mom's Meals falls in, is into the medically tailored meals, fruit and vegetable boxes, and pantry stocking boxes, which I'll dive a little bit deeper into. For medically tailored meals, the benefit for those who are in the HRSN, so OHP Medicaid, is up to 3 meals a day for 6 months at no cost to the member of home delivered chosen meals. So there's 9 different medically tailored meal categories, like puree, diabetes friendly, heart friendly, low sodium, things of that nature. And then members get to choose through a plethora of meals each week, of refrigerated home delivered meals at no cost to them, as they're eligible through the programs. With each of these 3 programs that we're talking about, they can participate if they're eligible for each program, just not at the same time. So maybe they have medically tailored meals, then they can move to fruit and vegetable, and then pantry stocking, or whichever way that they want to participate in it as they're eligible. For medically tailored meals, so the meals are refrigerated. They support most major chronic conditions, so those 9 different menu options. They get to choose their meal options each week, either online or by phone from our team. We'll deliver to any address, and they'll have our customer care team to support them as they go through the program. again, it's really important that they get the choice of their meal at every delivery. So that way they're actually eating their meals, they're not skipping meals, they're experiencing better health outcomes because of it. And like we kind of mentioned earlier, then they get to show up better for themselves and their family and their community. This is just an example. I won't dive too deeply into it right now, but if any of you or anybody on your team is interested in learning more about eligibility, how to refer people to the program, things of that nature, that's something I'm happy to walk through and go along with you and your team. Again, with my contact information. So this is what eligibility might look like for medically tailored meals. And this is going to be the same for the pantry stocking benefit. So, for example, if they're on Medicaid, are food insecure, have a behavioral health need, a physical health need, pregnant, postpartum, have experienced interpersonal violence, and then if they're also one of the eligible population things, then the child welfare system, released from incarceration in the past year, houseless or at risk of being houseless, things of this nature. So these are just example lists, not exhaustive lists of everything that somebody might be, but just the highest populations that we're servicing in each of these areas right now, and what eligibility looks like. And then fruit and vegetable boxes. So fruit and vegetable boxes, folks will get these delivered again to their choice of whichever site they want it to be delivered to. So it's their home or their transition center, wherever it may be. Each box will have recipes included in the boxes. So folks aren't just like, what do I do with all these potatoes and carrots? We'll give them some recipe ideas just so that they can kind of run off with that and not just kind of be left with a bunch of fruits and vegetables. So we like to help try to support them in that way as well. And then again, eligibility, same thing. It's 24 weeks at no cost to the member, home delivered program. Eligibility is the same as for medically tailored meals. And then pantry stocking is a little bit different. So for pantry stocking, these are just examples of what might come in a pantry stable box. So it's fruits and vegetables and pantry goods. And then again, they'll have the recipe cards in them to give some ideas or maybe meal inspiration on the things that they can make with the things that are included within their box. Again, we'll still look for member preferences and for dietary restrictions. So of course, if they're allergic to tuna, we're not going to give them, a box full of tuna or peanut butter, things of that nature. But for the eligibility for pantry stocking is a little bit different. So in this orange box here, it looks a lot more narrow than the previous two eligibility requirements. However, it is kind of a little bit more broad actually, because now the orange box is saying it's any person 21 and under. So now this is including a lot more youth, a lot more children who might be houseless or at risk of being houseless. Maybe their household is houseless or at risk of being houseless or they're in the child welfare system, or young adults with special health care needs, things of that nature. So that actually can make this eligibility a little bit more broad in that regard. And then again, any questions and things like that, I'm happy to discuss in more detail. And then these are just lists. So again, we service and deliver to any zip code in Oregon and Washington. And so these are just quick links that we like to share with folks who are talking about the program of how to refer their members. So maybe you're working in Portland, which is essentially a Care Oregon region or Health Share or Pacific Source, whatever it may be. And maybe somebody has traveled all the way from Eastern Oregon and they're looking for food resources. This is just quick links to have to be like, hey, maybe this is how you would refer from your CCO, or maybe they're coming from Southern Oregon, wherever it may be, just so that everybody has the same information. And then this slide is always very colorful. It can look a little bit overwhelming at times, but it's basically just the referral flow, just really drilling in that it should only take about 2 to 3 weeks for members. So those 14 business days should only take for members to get the program delivered to their home. If all goes well, they go through the referral process, things of that nature. Before we were needing nutrition assessments for the medically tailored meals, but now we're not. Our team will take care of those for the members, so they don't need to be referred back out to a PCP or a dietitian or whatever it may be. The Mom's Meals team can go ahead and help work alongside the member to complete those. They don't need one for pantry stocking or for fruit and vegetables. So it's just the matter of referral through their HRSN CCO web form. I have quick links and all of that stuff. go through the referral, submit it, and then they'll let us know that somebody's interested in the program. We'll contact the member and then get them set up with their first shipment of whichever program that they're choosing to participate in. And this is the fourth program that I just wanted to touch on. Is Moms Meals as an organization still wants to help combat food insecurity. So maybe folks are just, for whatever reason, not eligible for any of those other three programs that we just talked about. We still want to help reduce food insecurity by donating one cooler of 14 meals to folks who are not eligible for those other programs. And this is through Moms Meals website. So this is the link here. And I know we shared this presentation, so it could be accessible to you all. So all of these things you should be able to just click on here, and it should take you to the Hunger Challenge website if you wanted to learn more about that, and how to connect your community member. It doesn't ask for any sort of insurance information, anything of that nature. So that is separate from the Medicaid programs. This is for just folks who are not eligible for those. And then, yeah, as I talk to you or people on your team, we'd like to offer, of course, you all to try our meals. So if that's something you all are interested in, feel free to let me know. We could schedule something to talk with you and your team so you can participate in our program as well. Maybe there's some hesitancy with folks that are like, hey, I've tried other food programs where I didn't like it, or I don't know if I want to be in a food program. Like this. And then this is just an opportunity for you to share, like, hey, this is a program that's, if they're eligible, essentially free to them. And this was my experience with it. And I enjoyed the meals, or I experienced this or that, whatever it may be. You can give your honest feedback with your community members. And just so that you're rest assured that we are feeding your community members high quality, well-balanced, nutrition appropriate meals that are actually good tasting for them, so that they're eating their meals and enjoying their meals and experiencing better health outcomes, because that's the whole goal. And then this is my contact information. So my phone number, my email, I always love to stress there is no question too big or small when talking about these food programs and getting our community members connected to meals. I'm a community health worker at heart, and public health is my background, food justice and human right to health advocacy. So really no question if you're like, I forgot what that girl said one day. That's okay. Feel free to email me, call me, ask me about how to connect your community members to meals, to the food programs. I'm happy to help support and get as many of our community members connected to food as possible. Yeah, I just sped ran through that. So I'll stop sharing my screen. But yeah, if there's any questions or anything like that, I can't see the chat or anything right now, but if there's any questions, feel free to email me, or I'll look in the chat after this. But thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the other programs here.
Thank you so much. Looks like you do have some questions in the chat, so have at it, and thank you again so much for that presentation. That's awesome. Okay, next we'll be hearing from Genevieve from City of Portland Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. You ready, Genevieve?
I am. Let me get my PowerPoint ready. Oh, I haven't been on Zoom in a long time. Let's see. Where's the share screen, Maren?
It should be on the bottom, like there are like little icons, should be chat, react, raise hand, and then share. See it down there?
There it is.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well,
Beautiful.
thanks. I'm assuming you can see that because you said
Yeah, that was a beautiful. Yes.
Great. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me here. I kind of am approaching the food topic from a little bit of a different perspective. So, my name is Genevieve Joplin. I work as providing technical assistance and information around waste prevention, recycling, and composting. But food waste prevention is a big one for our bureau as well. And I'm excited to learn about other food-based organizations that this information may complement what you're already providing to clients and community members. And I'm very happy to provide the resources that I share today. So please do hit me up with an @Genevieve in the chat, or take down my information at the end of the slideshow. So the Eat Smart Waste Less program is a campaign that has been in the area for a few years now. It is a joint effort through the Clackamas County, Washington County, the cities of Beaverton, Gresham, and City of Portland. So the information should be available regardless of where you live or where your organization is. I'll talk about why wasting food is such a problem and some solutions for preventing it from happening. I have to kind of set the stage with a little bit of a disappointing statistic, and that's 40% of food that is grown to eat is wasted. So a very unfortunate pie chart is this pizza pie. So in the US, we waste half of all fruits, vegetables, and seafood, a third of grains, and about 20% of meat and dairy, which are the more carbon-intensive foods. But it's the equivalent of 2 people throwing away enough food to feed a third person, and that's why this is a problem. Some folks may think, well, where is this happening? Is this just happening on farms? This graph will show that about half an equal amount of food is wasted in our homes as it is in food-based industries. So farms, manufacturing and processing and distribution, grocery, and other food service. So what it means is that we have a lot of control over what is happening in our homes, and that's why I'm sharing these resources. Food waste hits us most with an economic problem. So it's an important thing to note that it may be small throughout the year, but on average, a family of 4 loses or wastes $2,900 every year on food they bought to eat, and it ultimately ended up throwing it away. So that's like going to the grocery store and having 5 full bags of groceries, dropping one in the parking lot, and simply driving away. So pretty impactful. $165 billion every year across the US is wasted on food that was not eaten. Additional impacts are environmental impacts, and simply put, wasted food is wasted resources. So when we throw away food, we're throwing away all of the time, energy, and resources that went into making that food, all the water that was pumped in to grow these plants, the oil that was used for fertilizers or to power machinery to create and farm the food, food that was given to animals to raise them, all the land, the resources that have been impacted from loss of nutrients from growing food. So there's a lot, also the labor to grow and make the food. So just really want to indicate that just because we don't see all of those things because they happen before we're looking at that food, it's incredibly resource intensive. So I'm going to take a look at some of the where does and how does food waste happen. I mentioned this already, that a lot of the impacts might happen across the food spectrum. So maybe at the farm, food is not harvested. Maybe it's too small or too large or cosmetically challenged. Some food is damaged during distribution and transportation. Grocery stores may throw food out past the date on the package. And I'll talk more about date labeling in a minute, but we also waste a lot of food at home. Maybe some of these might be familiar. Have we ever bought too much food or served too much because we didn't want to look like a bad host? Maybe we bought something on sale and we didn't end up liking it, so we're stuck with it. Maybe we didn't store it properly, so maybe it dried up or got slimy. Maybe we brought food home from a restaurant and we were going to eat our leftovers, but they kind of got pushed to the back of the fridge and we lost track of them. Maybe we were trying a new recipe and we had to buy a certain amount of something, but we don't know what to do with the other half of it. So maybe we're new to food cooking, and we don't really have a set of recipes that we know are tried and true for our family. So cross-utilization of food. There's a lot of things. Food waste and definitely how our connection to food is very personal. So these might be some examples of things. You may also have other ways that you kind of recognize that you're wasting food at home. I work around waste. I'm part of the Waste and Sustainable Materials team at the City of Portland, and there is a hierarchy, reduce, reuse, recycle around materials, and there's also a hierarchy around food. And we really want to focus on reducing waste, but then also recognizing the other components. So we've heard about donating edible food. There is definitely a preferred way to approach food waste, the food waste hierarchy, that we want to reduce the amount of food that is potentially going to be wasted, but then get out the food to as many places as possible. So Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon, pantries and pop-up markets. There's some great organizations that are collecting food from restaurants and grocery stores and getting it out to folks to eat. After edible food is taken care of, yes, the compost is 100% a great space to put food when it's no longer edible, if you have compost access. So if you live in multifamily housing, that's unlikely to be an option for you. And compost truly is about the inedible parts of food. So putting food in the compost is not what we want to hear. We want to hear it's eggshells, coffee grounds, things that really were never meant to be eaten. So banana peels. There are some things that we know we can't eat, so those can go into the compost bin. Let's see. Yeah. So if you're throwing food in the compost bin and thinking you're not part of the problem, please rethink that, okay? All right. I want to talk about date labeling and just kind of debunking a few misconceptions. There are no national safety standards on food labeling. So the sell by, use by, best by are about quality of product, with the exception of infant formula. That is the only safety regulation on food. The rest might be a manufacturer suggestion or a retailer saying, well, we're going to rotate our stock. So this is where people get really confused about date labels. I would encourage you that you use your senses, just like you do for a bruised apple or pear. Oh, I can cut a little bit off. You know, I grew up in a household where it was hard cheeses. You can just cut a little bit of growth on it. Some things you don't want to mess around with, like bread. That is definitely a product that I would not eat. But for packaged products that have dates labeled on them like this, please do your research and make sure that you're not throwing away food that could still be eaten. All right. This is the best part. So this is the resources that we have available to share with you and your clients. The first strategy is shopping with meals in mind. So using the resources that might be at your fingertip if you are someone who uses smartphones for doing a lot of your planning. We also have these shopping lists. These are paper shopping lists. If you've come to a CSN event, we readily give these items out. We would love to provide a supply for you and your family. What it does is just helps you to reminds you to look at what you have on hand. So before you go to the grocery store, what do you have in your freezer, your pantry, or your refrigerator that needs to be eaten up soon? In the busyness of schools, we might be on autopilot, and so when we go shopping during the school year, but now we're on summer break, or some folks are on summer break. Maybe our schedules have changed. Who are you really feeding this week, and what are their needs? If you're taking vacations, don't go on autopilot and say, like, we always get a gallon of milk when we go on our shopping trips. Oh, we're going to be leaving in 3 days. So just getting in the mindset of knowing what you have available and what your needs are that week. The next strategy is prep now to eat later. So as soon as you get home from the store, can you prep your ingredients so that you can get ready to use them in your weekly meals? Some folks that I've worked with say, oh yeah, when I come home from shopping, I take half of the loaf of sliced bread that I have and I stick it in a freezer bag and I stick it in the freezer, because that way I can just pull things and use them up, or not have to worry about them going bad. Clear containers are the big suggestion here. If you can see what's in your refrigerator and what needs to be moved out and ready to use, the less likely you are to have that get forgotten in your kitchen. Let's see, grease pencils, yeah, whatever works for you for prepping. The next strategy we have is keep it fresh strategy. This is based on a handout that we have that we provide at the CSN events, and this is really about keeping your food fresh longer. So learning how to use your crisper drawers, the high humidity and low humidity in your refrigerator, understanding that the door of your refrigerator, because it opens all the time, is the warmest part. So maybe putting your milk further back in your fridge and using the shelving on the doors for things like condiments or pickles and things like that. Let's see. And then again, the freezer works so well for so many things. I've found that since I've started presenting the information, there are tips that make perfect sense once you hear them. Large ice cube trays, you can pour things like unused vegetable stock that comes in a big carton. If you're not using the whole thing, you can actually freeze those in big ice cube trays, and then pop them into a freezer bag and just label it. So again, you're using stuff up at a later time. A frozen ice cube of broth works great in a saute. So if you're working with a skillet meal or something like that, it's an easy way to use up ingredients like that. You can also freeze things like beans, rice. I have a soup that I made last fall that I enjoyed this spring, and it was lovely to be able to just recognize I loved making this item, and now I can eat it again because I stored it properly. Let's see. Okay. And then this is the probably the one that I think people resonate with a lot, is eating what you buy. So making sure that as you pay attention to what's going on in your fridge, if you indicate a space for your household to know that as things are getting close to, ooh, these peaches are a little rough, we might have to cut some parts off. Just creating a space where the household members know this is stuff that has to get eaten first. So we have a little sticker that says, "Don't lose me in the fridge." You can use a piece of masking tape. You can have your kid create, "Eat this first." Something that we know to go to use something up. Maybe there's half of a meal that we made earlier in the week, and oh, there's leftover rice. Hey, these are things. This is now a leftover night. You can really be creative about making sure you're using up the things in your fridge. The one thing I will say about reheating leftovers is that it's best to heat things in the way that they were prepared. And if you've ever tried to reheat or microwave French fries, you know they never turn out well. So maybe an an air fryer might be an option instead of a microwave. So just trying things out that will work. Additionally, if you need ideas for leftovers, you can maybe take something that was a beef chili and turn it into something that might be a nacho. So repurposing things is another resource that we like to get folks thinking about. And then often we will share the Food Hero website. So Oregon State Extension Services Food Hero site is one that we love promoting. We often have some of their recipes available at our tabling area. If you have a few ingredients, you can plug them into the website and ideas will come up for you about how to use those ingredients up. And they are wonderful. I want to give a shout out that they're coming up. Let's see, I think it was 2021. The National Food Waste Prevention Week started, and this is actually, it's worldwide. This is taking place across the world. Lots of resources are shared here for tips to prevent food waste, ideas, ways to get kids involved. I am not a chef. I am not someone who does a nutrition program, but I would love to be a partner in this effort. So if you do host pantries, if you do host cooking classes, if you do host nutrition, please reach out to me. I would love to provide you with some resources and tips that your folks can use to prevent food waste at home. And I think that's it for me. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Genevieve. Really good tips. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Julio from Meals on Wheels people, you ready to go?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, how you doing? Hi.
Good. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting us. So let's see. Share. There you go. Share. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do. All right. Can you all see it clearly?
Yes.
Is that good enough? Okay, I
Yeah,
have.
looks good.
Okay, so Meals on Wheels. So who we are? We were established in 1969 by three ladies who saw the need of the community. These people got together in the basement and made about 14 meals and delivered them in prepared plates. Yeah, 50 years later, we now have 22 locations. We serve in 3 counties, Multnomah, Washington, and Clark County. We make about 6,000 to 8,000 meals every day at our Multnomah Village Central Kitchen, and we serve about 8,000 people now. Any questions? So yeah, 50 years can do a lot, huh? Okay, our vision, no senior will go hungry or experience social isolation. Our mission is to enrich the lives of our seniors and assist them in maintaining independence by providing nutritious food, human connection, and social support. So people sometimes think, yeah, just Meals on Wheels, right? No, we do a lot more than just a meal. We visit them, we chat with them, we make sure that they are okay. We have, again, we had 22 centers. We have these places offer meals for seniors, anybody over 60 across the county. So I think in Washington County, we got 3 sites. In Clark County, we got another 3 sites. And Multnomah County, I believe we have 4 sites that people can come in and have a lunch if you are over 60. Who is eligible? Anyone over 60. We do not ask a lot of questions. For home delivery, they have to be homebound and able to cook for themselves, live in the service area. Again, it is not income based. Some people do worry about how much will it cost, like how do I get the program? Well, if you had this type of requirement, you will qualify for meals for home delivery. If you are over 60 and want to visit one of our centers, this does not apply. So as long as you can get there and you are over 60, you can come and have lunch with us.
Julio, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Is there any way that you could present the screen so that it's a little bit bigger?
Yeah, I tried to do that earlier. There you go. Is that better?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No worries. Yeah, I thought I didn't know what I was seeing, so I made sure what
Yeah,
people
it's always hard to figure it out.
got
Thank you
it.
so
So
much.
yeah, and again, right, anybody over 60 qualifies for congregate meals, people who can visit the site, home delivery, you have to be homebound and live in the service area. Um, so cost of the meals right now, this slide was made a little while ago and it used to cost 10.50. But now with the increase of everything every single day, I think our meal costs about 12.50 now. Um, Participants are not charged for the meals, but we do give them the chance to contribute if they like. Once a month, they will receive a letter, not even saying how many meals they got. They say, hey, to keep Meals on Wheels going, you may donate if you like. And if they do not donate, that doesn't matter at all. We'll continue serving them. 80% of our seniors meal programs in the USA have a waiting list, and us, we have never ever had a waiting list. For the 50 years we've been serving our community, it takes about 2 to 4 days to the time they called us to request a meal, get a call back and do a reassessment, and then send the information to a center site, which is the nearest location for the meal will come from. And yep, it take about, I think we'll say maximum 4 days for somebody to receive a meal. And lucky us, we have never had a waiting list. What we deliver, so we have registered dietitians working with us. We serve more than 50 different scratch meals made. So again, we receive our raw products at the central kitchen, and we have a large team of people who are making the meals every single day. We do offer vegetarian options. We do honor protein preferences. We cannot really accommodate small things like I don't like broccoli, I don't like red sauce, I don't like that. So we can't really do that since again we serve about probably 8,000 people. So it's really difficult to um to manage that. But we do again honor made protein preferences. Meal services include high quality proteins, vegetables, fresh fruit, whole grain, and milk. Supplemental grocery items increase food security and access to high quality protein for home delivery participant. Yeah, so the meal consists of just a frozen meal, right? And then a piece of fruit and milk. That is it. What the traditional older American Act give us money for. But we have a really great team that oh my goodness, we are able to send them some extra things like peanut butter, yogurt, hummus, which is on Meals on Wheels time. What our dining centers offers, again, if you are over 60 or know somebody over 60, they may visit one of these sites. There's no requirement as long as you're over 60. We make these meals on site, fresh from scratch. People go to the store and buy whatever they can buy, and our site coordinators prepare them daily. So we also host special events like food truck events. In the past, we celebrated anything we wanted. Now it's officially we celebrate Chinese New Year, Hispanic Heritage Month, and Juneteenth. Those are the three celebrations that we celebrate across the organization. Now, every center is a little bit different, and they may choose to, of course, celebrate St. Patrick's Day or celebrate anything else that makes sense in the community. But we have a lot of music and party at Meals on Wheels. Beyond the meals, participants, site visits from volunteers benefit the program. Volunteers and staff act, I can see this, as a gatekeeper. Again, right? We go further than just a meal. So when the volunteers get to people's home, we ensure that they are okay. We usually have volunteers going back to the same place every week. So they actually get to know our clients. So we have gotten report that, well, that person was walking last week and now that person is not able to get up anymore. So something happened during that week. So then we take the procedures accordingly for emergency contact or make a report through our Perfect services. Yeah. We also have social programs to avoid isolations. We have a new program called the PET program. We do believe that our seniors need companion to avoid loneliness. And what we found is that people will get, let's say, 5 meals and 2 will go for the pets and they will only eat 3 and they were still struggling for food. So we thought, well, we should be providing pet food so that our senior can actually eat their meal and stay healthy. So now we have a pet program that is working really good. While you're needed, more than 8,000 older adults depend on us. I deliver meals myself, and what I witness sometimes is very heartbreaking. They are lonely. They are not able to move. They don't have anyone else checking in on them. People break in tears very often, and it's heartbreaking just to see how these folks live. For 1 in 5 participants, volunteers who deliver are the only people they see daily. So if you ever deliver meals from Meals on Wheels, be prepared to have a conversation because people really want to talk, right? They don't see anyone else the entire week. And most of the time, beyond the meal, they just really want to see somebody. Some people will wait at the door for the driver to show up. 25% of our clients live below the poverty level. So okay, let's move this tab here. There we go. We rely on nearly 200 volunteers every weekday to help serve and deliver meals. We serve again 1,700 individuals have volunteered for Meals on Wheels people in the past year, and that's about $3 million that we save on pure labor, meaning people will come in at the center to cook, clean, home delivery drivers, and all the things that we do. Deliver meals. So it's super easy. Again, we have several programs. We have the traditional Meals on Wheels for all the adults. We also have a program called Meals for Kids that we serve families. The requirement, anybody over 18 can drive. If under 18, it has to have a valid driver license, must be accompanied by an adult. We work Monday to Thursday. 9 to 12 is our delivery. Usually when people come in to deliver the meals, 9 to 12. And our delivery window is usually from 10 to 2 p.m. So if you want to take a 2-hour shift, just give us a call. On-site opportunities, again, center opportunities, kitchen, dining assistant, meal packer, greeters, dishwasher, food portioning, meals for kids, cleaners. Requirement for this, age 7 to 14, and accompany an adult, 15 years old, can volunteer on their own, and must have a full handler's card. Usually every center is open again from Monday to Thursday. We're there from 8 to 4 p.m. And you can come in from 9 to 2 to deliver meals, or there's a lot to do. So there's a lot of room for everybody to help out. Again, so we go, Meals on Wheels is more than a meal, right? So we have this program called the Friendly Chat and Wellness Check. So available social isolation through friendly home conversation as well as wellness check-in. So we provide social connection and interactions, safety check-ins, allows us to provide further resources or tools. So the safety check-in, we do this probably 3 times a year when temperature hits 90 degrees for 3 consecutive days. I think last year, couple older adults passed away due to the heat. So we do check on them. So once the heat get, unbearable, we call them to see how they're doing. And we also take fan donations, AC donations, and we have them ready. So once we call, we usually distribute these fans to keep people colder. Same during the winter, when the snow hits, if it's like more than 4 days of snow, we call our people to see what they're doing, right? Because we are no longer able to deliver meals, but we call them and see if they need additional help. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people with 4x4 come in and say, yeah, I can do it. So people will drive in the snow, ensuring that people have water, people have something to eat. Calls can be made Monday to Thursday between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is for the friendly chat. We just call people once a week, to talk about the cats, the weather, or just, to make a friendly conversation. Any questions so far? No questions. Oh, you can hear people. All right. Volunteer requirements. So all new volunteers will need to create an online account, register, and attend a virtual orientation. Volunteer 16 plus must complete a background check. This is submitted by the volunteer coordinator. Once background check is completed and approved, the volunteer onboarding process is complete. So this take about, let's say, 5 days to 8 days by the time a volunteer come in. Everyone needs to be background checked. Sometimes it will ask for fingerprints if you have worked at like medical in the medical field or out of state or just new to Oregon. That was quick. Yep. So together we can ensure that no senior will go hungry or experience social isolation. Any questions? Did I go too fast?
No, that was perfect. And it looks like you do have some questions in the chat, so I'll leave you to answer those there, and then we'll move on to our OHP section. But thank you so much, Julio. You do such great work, and I really appreciate that you're also checking on these folks aside from just providing meals. So that's really good work.
Trying to get to the chat. Okay, there you go. All right. Do you see the? I don't see the chat. I
If
see.
you could stop sharing your screen, then that is probably like the only thing that you're able to see. And then probably the chat would become available. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Sorry, I'm the second person who really use Teams.
That's okay. And then the chat, there should be icons on the bottom, and chat should be one of those.
Everyone, okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Well, we'll move on to our OHP access and navigation segment. So Abraham, if you are ready, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me go ahead and try to present. Okay, can everyone see my slides?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to share two things. The first one, staying on theme, is more information about the Health-Related Social Needs Nutrition Program. This was actually covered. A lot of the information is similar with what Leticia for Mom's Meals covered. So I'm actually going to be speeding through this first section to give some time to other OHP updates that I would like to cover. I was just going to mention it briefly, but I think since some of the nutrition stuff was covered earlier, I can go more into depth in the second part. So for people that aren't familiar with the Health-Related Social Needs Program, it is a program that has been around for a few years now. And the Health-Related Social Needs Program basically has a few different parts. There's the housing piece that provides rental assistance and home modifications, home changes for health, formerly known as climate supports, which can help qualified families get things such as air conditioners, refrigerators, backup battery supplies for power outages. And what we're going to be talking about today, I wanted to stay in theme with what everyone's sharing today, which is all around nutrition. There is the new fruit and vegetable and pantry stocking benefit that I'm going to be covering. And just to cover basically what's new and how things used to be. So prior to July, members could receive either one of two things, and they were medically tailored meals, again, which Leticia from Mom's Meals covered and explained what that looks like. It's basically just meals designed for specific health conditions, and because it was to address specific health conditions, the nutrition benefit was very limited and very specific in terms of who was able to access it. And it was part of a required nutrition care plan that the member needed to have in order to be able to qualify. Members were also able to access nutrition education, which was provided by a nutritional specialist. And there was various different ways that members could access that, such as one-on-one counseling, nutrition classes, but also meal preparation and education, teaching people how to prepare meals that address their specific health conditions. But again, these benefits primarily focus on members with very specific clinical nutrition needs. So it wasn't really generalized or accessible to a wide range of the population. But with the new expansion that has started as of this month, members are able to access one of either two new benefits, and that is the fruit and vegetable benefit or the pantry stocking benefit. So they're no longer just limited to prepared meals that address specific health conditions. Or nutrition education. And basically, members can customize and choose how they want to receive this benefit. They can be delivered as a food box, which happens on a weekly or daily basis, depending on the need. And members can customize the type of either fruit or like pantry supplies that they need. But members can also opt to receive a restricted grocery card. So kind of think very similar to how EBT cards work, where it lets you purchase specific food items. Members are also able to opt into the restricted card in order to receive the benefit. That's going to let them purchase the things that are allowed. Members are able to have the HRSA nutritional benefit at the same time as they are receiving SNAP or WIC. So that is not a disqualifying factor, and that's just something I want to make very clear. So who can qualify? Number one, you need to be enrolled as an OHP member. You need to have and demonstrate food insecurity. And you need to be experiencing a life transition and have a qualifying health condition. Some examples of life transitions, and this is not the comprehensive list, so there is much more, and that's why I'm sharing this QR code for people to scan it. It'll lead you to our website where you can apply and see the comprehensive list of different ways that members can qualify. For health share specifically, there is not one way or like one application that members can fill out. Rather, you need to go to the application or call the phone number that's specific to your health plan, and that would be your physical health plan. So either Kaiser Permanente, Care Oregon, Providence, or OHSU Health, which are 4 different health plans. So again, covered this super brief because I know that DC already shared some of this information, so I don't want to double up. And instead, I want to spend more time talking about the Medicaid changes due to the federal bill and implementation. So in case people don't know, pretty much a year ago in July of 2025, Congress passed the HR 1 bill. That is its technical name. Some people might have heard it in the news as the Big Beautiful Bill. So that is the name given to it, but the technical name is HR 1, and that is what we refer to it internally. But it's basically a budgeting bill that included a lot of different changes to Medicaid policy. And if we, as the state of Oregon, want to continue receiving federal help to fund our Medicaid program, we are required to implement these changes. And these changes are really meant to restrict access and limit the people's use of Medicaid. So if people are, after me covering this, they're like, well, this makes things very difficult. It's by design, but we're doing our best in terms of at the CCO level, but also at the state to try and coordinate and work together around this to try to do the best with the situation that we're currently in. So I hope that this isn't the first time that people are hearing about it, but in case it is, I just wanted to cover everything from square one. There are 3 big changes that are going to be happening in 2027, and possibly more changes further in the years in 2028 and 2029. But the major things that are happening is that there is non-citizen eligibility changes. There's going to be work or activity rules for some adults, and there definitely will be more frequent renewals. So right now, there's a lot of allowances that make it so members can go a year for some populations, such as children under 6, not need to renew their OHP application. Those things are going to be changing. So what's coming first? Well, starting in October, the following people with this immigration status that's on the screen will be moved to our Healthier Oregon program. This basically means, and we're doing this because the federal government has decided that these individuals are no longer qualified for Medicaid. If we were in another state, they would basically drop off their Medicaid program. But luckily here in Oregon, we do have our Healthier Oregon program, which is able to continue covering these people just through our state-funded program. So for these individuals, they will receive a letter in the mail telling them that they no longer qualify for OHB plus, but luckily they will continue to qualify for Healthier Oregon. So not too much will change. At least from the member's perspective. But beginning January 1st, 2027, all of these members, including members that are already on the Healthier Oregon program, which we call the HOP program, are going to be transitioning over to OpenCard. So what does that mean? Basically, in a nutshell, and again, just summarizing things very quickly, they will no longer be part of a CCO, so they will not receive the additional benefits that a CCO provides. From the top, things like care coordination, access to certain providers, help with referrals, access to additional resources like flexible services. Those types of things will no longer be accessible to the member, and they will need to be part of a different provider network, working with providers that specifically accept OpenCard. So for the most part, thinking in federally qualified health centers, so your local county health departments that run their county-based clinics, those are going to be the ones serving these members. And then again, like I mentioned, there's going to be a work and activity requirement. So you can kind of follow this flow chart. If you are working with a member that has the work or activity requirement, they're going to need to complete 80 hours of either one work or volunteer or just volunteer services, or they can do a combined amount of the two. And so it's 80 hours as defined by the federal government, but it's kind of based on how much you earn in terms of the work requirement. So you're supposed to earn $580 per month in order to continue qualifying for Medicaid. But as people know, we have higher than the federal wage requirements here in Oregon and especially around the Portland metro. So it might be much easier for members to be able to meet the minimum amount in order to continue qualifying for Medicaid. So that is one upside of this, just the fact that Oregon has a higher minimum wage. In terms of how things are going to work combined, like if someone's only doing like 10 hours of work and then the rest are volunteer, we don't have the specifics on that information yet. And that's something else that we want to be really transparent about. These systems are still being built out by the state. And we will get this information out to our members as soon as we have it. We'll try to do our best to kind of facilitate this process. But since the systems don't exist yet, it's kind of hard to say exactly how it'll look like. So I can just kind of provide like overarching, over the top technical information of like what the current definitions are, and just providing information as best as I can right now. So this is the most that I can share right now. Yeah, so I just wanted to do like a really quick brief overview of the HR 1 updates that are coming. Possible more in the future. And we just kind of wanted to share this information really briefly here. We both Trillium and I have more comprehensive informational presentations that we're able to provide to organizations that want to start training their just direct service providers to be able to help their members. So if you are interested, you can reach out to me directly, but we're also working on the CSN team to put on a more comprehensive overview and presentation of this. So either you can wait for that, or you can reach out to us directly if you are wanting to talk more, maybe just give us ideas, feedback, comments, all of that is welcome. So opening it up for questions, I'll try to open my chat, see if I can find that screen. If not, I might ask for help first by the CSN team.
Totally. Thanks so much, Abraham. So yeah, since we have about 9 minutes left, folks can unmute and ask questions now and we'll answer them. And then it looks like, Abraham, you do have some questions in the chat, and I copy and pasted one that kind of got lost above too. So let me know if you can't see those.
Yeah. Okay, so would Open Card offer rides? Yes. So Open Card, that's a really good question. The core benefits that members are able to access with through OHP, those aren't really changing. It's just the way that members receive them. So, like I mentioned, CCOs do a lot in terms of like facilitating and like putting everything in one place, and helping members that need help coordinating their care. Um, Basically, the way that things are going to change is that all of a sudden members need to do all of that themselves. So they need to arrange for transportation themselves. They need to keep track of different phone numbers. It's especially going to be difficult in mixed households, mixed eligibility households. So let's say that parents don't qualify for Medicaid, but their kids do. They're going to all of a sudden need to be going to different providers, also keeping track of different phone numbers, especially if you are seeking transportation. It's going to be different phone numbers for your kids. But car rides are still offered. And that's one of the things that we're able to do is we're able to put this a list together of resources um, to be able to help just like consolidate and find that information. But yes, OpenCard does have their own transportation program. Um, it's based on region. I don't know what it is from the top of my head, again, because we don't really work with OpenCard, but we're going to start doing some of that information gathering to be able to provide to people. Health-related social needs can still be accessed through OpenCard. One thing is that if individuals qualified or submitted an application while they had a CCO and they were approved, it's going to be the CCO's responsibility to fulfill that request. So it won't be like on the open card provider to do that. It's going to be on the CCO's job to kind of figure that out. So I hope that answered those questions. Um, Baby gift. Sabah, if you could say a little bit more about that, maybe come off mute. I'm not too familiar with what you're referring to, but I'd be happy to look more into that. What's the best way to contact me? The best way to contact me is through my email. I'll reply to that comment here. And if you could please put in the subject line like HR1 presentation, or like kind of like just that, so I'm able to organize in the heading and keep track of like where we're going out to share more of this information. CSN team, I mentioned Providence. Providence is dissolving, going to impact folks who are on OHP with them. So Providence is dissolving their private health insurance and also their marketplace offers. There are, which is a separate part of their system that's not together with their OHP program. So in terms of a health plan, they're still going to be continuing to be part of HealthShare. At least we haven't heard anything different. If we do hear something different, we will be able to update members as soon as we have that information. But even based on the conversations that I've been in, if something were to happen with Providence on the OHP side, it's not like the hospitals and clinics are going anywhere. So it would be something similar to how kind of Legacy dropped off, and they were no longer offering their health plan side with HealthShare, and now all of that care is managed by Care Oregon, but it still maintained the same hospitals and providers that there were before. So no impacts right now for Providence HealthShare members.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, this is Saba. So I meant for a pregnant mom, like Care Oregon offers some gift program, Trillium offers Smart for your baby, something like this for a pregnant mom.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So things like that, which are supplemental, and as you get it as being part of a CCO, those types of benefits will not be available on people that have open card, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, And yes, health-related social needs. This is answering Preston's question. HRSN participants can now shop on their own, as opposed to only receiving pre-made meals. Yes, they can. You kind of have to choose which nutrition benefit you want. You can't have them all at once. But yeah, if you opt for the food card, which again, very similar to how ABT works, where it's like there are food items that you can purchase and there are food items that don't qualify, it's going to work very similar to that. But if that's the benefit that the member would like to have, that is definitely an option. Again, they still have to qualify. The criteria is a little bit more broad. Recommend people going to our website to check that out for the full list. But yes, that is an option. I'm curious, I think we have until 11 to have people been hearing any information about the HR1 bill or the new changes coming to Medicaid? We're very close to some changes being implemented, especially with the open cart transition. So I'm just wondering if people have been hearing or getting questions from their members. And if not, that's also very helpful information as well. You can tell us like either go off mute or just in the chats, like this is the first time I'm hearing about it, or maybe I'm already familiar with this. Nicole, thank you.
Most of the population that I work with is unfamiliar with any of the changes that are going to be happening. And so me telling them of the changes is like oftentimes the first time that they're hearing it.
That's helpful to know. And that's kind of what we're getting from a lot of people. So again, it's going to be really important, especially like at establishing these relationships to like deliver this information, because it's going to be happening real soon. And like you said, a lot of people don't know. So it's possible that the first time that they find out that these changes happened is when they go to their scheduled appointments, but then they learn, oh, I'm no longer covered by OHP, or I'm not able to access this provider. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that, but we're trying to do our best to get ahead of it. Well, thank you to everyone. Again, you can reach out to me directly if you'd like to talk more about this. We're being really intentional about where we're showing up right now. CSN is one of those spaces, but if we have capacity to do more direct presentations, we'd love to be invited.
Thank you so much, Abraham. And thank you all for coming to this monthly learning session. I'm dropping a survey for our session in the chat, so we'd love for you to spend a couple minutes filling that out and helping us understand your experience. I want to also thank all the other presenters. It's so important to learn from these resources and get to ask questions and better understand what's out there. So thank you all so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Hope you stay cool, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. All right, everybody, I'm gonna close the meeting, but if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And like I said in the beginning, I will be posting the recording online on our YouTube, and then also you can see these PowerPoint presentations on our website. So be sure to check that out, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.